Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. The Hongmeng God List is now in the world, and I, who have become a saint, have been exposed. Qin Feng traveled to the world of floods and wastelands, and despite his deep understanding of the Tao, he struggled to become a saint, but still had no plans to leave the mountains. But I never expected that when Mount Zhou was hit, heaven and earth collapsed, and Enyu was repairing the sky. The Great Dao retreated and returned to fill the heavenly palace, forming a Hongmeng Divine List. Everything in the entire wilderness is recorded in the Hongmeng Divine List. And as long as you make it to the list, you will have great benefits. For the first time, the Mount list was announced, and the top 10 Mount owners on the list were actually one person, causing a great shock. The second time, the list of immortal talents was announced, and this name once again topped the list. On that day, Enyu and the Earth Saints all emerged and fought for 30.3 days, just to see the first place on the list of immortal talents. The third time, the list of divine powers has been announced. The fourth time, the Lingbao List has been announced. Finally, when the Daoist list was announced, Qin Feng could no longer hold on to his status as a sage who surpassed the Great Dao. And also being exposed. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Heaven and Earth Overturning, God's List coming out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Heaven and Earth Overturning, God's List coming out. Kneeling for flowers to reward evaluation. Chapter 1. Heaven and Earth Overturning, God's List coming out. The vast wilderness, towering millions of feet in the sky. But above this immeasurable sky, there is a huge hole that is tens of thousands of zhang long. Gonggang and Jerome were defeated in the great battle, unable to collide with Zhoushan in anger and pierce through the sky. In the cave that day, there were countless mixed undercurrents surging out. This mixed undercurrent, carrying a heavy and lifeless aura, is poured down from a high position in the wilderness, affecting billions of living beings. Where it flows, there is no more vitality in heaven and earth. However, at this moment, a figure flew against the dark current and rushed towards the sky cave. That is a fairy, with a phoenix crown and a rosy robe, and a fluttering skirt. But it was the Enyu who became a saint with the virtue of creating people. At this moment, Enyu is holding up a 5-colored stone, going against the current with the cultivation of a saint, to fill the sky with the 5-colored stone. Enyu came to the bottom of the sky cave and used her magic. The sage's magical power flows, forcing back the undercurrents. Subsequently, Enyu used her magic to melt and repair the heavenly stone, continuously casting it at the crack in the sky. Under her actions, the cracks in the sky continued to shrink. In just 15 minutes, there was only a narrow strip left. Accompanied by Enyu's gradual completion of repairing the sky. In the void between heaven and earth, there are constantly sparkling white particles precipitating, scattered and sinking into Enyu's body. This is the merit bestowed by heaven and earth. After needing the earth to create humans, Enyu will once again establish another great merit. Refining 5-colored stones to fill the sky, breaking off the AO is enough to establish the 4 poles. Enyu lifted her arms and was about to seal the last 5-colored stones onto the cracks in the sky. But at this moment, there is a sudden change emerging. In the last crack of the sky, suddenly a golden light appeared. Immediately after, a piercing sound came from afar. This golden light is dazzling, casting a golden glow on the sky and earth, making it impossible to see anything else. After the golden light dissipated, Enyu looked at the crack in the sky again, but her face changed. I saw a painting suddenly emerge, blocking the crack in the sky. This painting is too vast, spanning between heaven and earth, I don't know how long it is. Spread out from above higher than the sky, spread out, all the way down to below the earth, spanning between heaven and earth. On top of this golden scroll, there are 4 large black characters. Hongmeng Divine List. These 4 words are written in an unknown way, with sharp strokes radiating divine power and embodying the true charm of the Tao. The Hongmeng Divine List suddenly appeared, with a golden glow illuminating the entire flood and chaos. At this moment, many great powers in the wilderness are being perceived. Moreover, this Hongmeng Divine List was spread out flat, even standing horizontally in front of many orthodox sects. Unimaginable huge fluctuations spread over this painting, and endless light shone throughout the wilderness. The various heavenly gods and demons, as well as the majestic beings within the divine mountains and blessed earth, are all disturbed by them. The vast and boundless world of the south. There is an area surrounded by boundless waters, and at the center of this area lies a peculiar place called a Sea of Blood. This land of blood is incredibly vast, filled with dirt. To evil. And at all times in the wilderness, there are rolling yin sha qi constantly converging towards this place. This is the truly wicked place. While the sea of blood rolls and forms endless waves, incredibly crimson and sticky. Boom. But when that scroll appeared, it lay across the sea of blood. Buzzing, the sea of blood began to boil, constantly bubbling with bubbles, and the eternal evil began to dissipate under this painting. Suddenly, a supreme heavenly sound came from the sea of blood. Then, the vast sea of blood suddenly began to divide towards both sides, as if it had been cut by a heavenly sword. A pure and pure blood-colored lotus platform, resembling glass, slowly floated up. Above the bloody lotus platform, there is an endless flame of red lotus industry. Surprisingly, there was a Taoist sitting upright on the lotus platform, holding two black and white swords in his arms. Hongmeng God List. A hoarse voice spewed out from the Taoist population, and at the same time, the rolling evil began to spread. I thought that after the final battle of the lich demons, the flood would calm down for some time. The Taoist sighed long and leisurely, and the two killing and attacking divine swords in his arms were buzzing and vibrating. Spread the decree of this throne, Azura tribe will retreat upon seeing the list. Invisible fluctuation spread through the sea of blood as the Taoist opened his mouth, and the boiling sea of blood seemed to freeze under this words. No. Then, words like drums and thunder echoed one after another. Above the 30.3 days, there was a mist formed by the condensation of endless elemental energy, almost covering the entire 30.3 days. At the peak of 30.3 days, there stands a huge heavenly palace that stretches for countless miles. This heavenly palace is one of the central places of the flood and famine, the heavenly court. Looking around, amidst endless mist, there are countless golden lights and clouds, dazzling to the extreme. A series of jade towers and golden halls have emerged from the transformation of heaven and earth, with Cheongtai buildings undulating within them. Is this? And at the highest point of this continuous heavenly palace, inside the Lingshao treasure hall, the heavenly Emperor Jun looked at this Hongmeng Divine List and his heart was shaken. Surprisingly, a portion of this Hongmeng Divine List has been directly inserted into the heavenly court, not above the 33 heavens. The Hongmeng Divine List, spread out through the cracks in the sky and coming from outside. Emperor Jun dared not be careless and quickly deduced with his fingers. He is the golden crow born within the sun star, with extraordinary talent. By deduction, if a sage does not emerge, the emperor will be unparalleled in the world. However, under this deduction, Emperor Jun was shocked. He surprisingly can't deduce any results, even seeking a clue is impossible. Everything about this Hongmeng Divine List is shrouded in a layer of misty golden radiance, unable to be seen. This golden light is like billions of golden light divine swords, cutting off all paths of deduction. His deductive ability is unparalleled in the world. When he saw that the situation was not right, he quickly terminated it and was unharmed. If you switch to a slightly weaker person, you may be directly deduced to have a backlash and suffer a heavy blow to your soul. Emperor Jun couldn't help but have a serious expression on his face. What exactly is the origin of this Hongmeng Golden List? It is impossible to see with his position as the heavenly emperor of the heavenly court. He is not only the heaven and earth, but also the emperor who has deduced the unparalleled glory along the way. But they can't even deduce it. Is it true that the origin and development of this Hongmeng Divine List require certification of a saint before it can be inferred? Emperor Jun murmured, very incredulous. However, what Emperor Jun could not have known was, this Hongmeng Divine List has already shocked the saints. The vast West. The West, which has always been known for its poverty, actually has wonderful places. In this ancestral land of the West, there is a sacred mountain that stretches to its fullest chest, shining with a golden light and pure power of faith, illuminating the entire West. This is the third largest religion in the wilderness, the Western religion. The masters of Western religion are the appointed saints and the introduced saints. And today, it is the once-in-a-thousand-year preaching day of the two saints. The West is barren, with the mercy of saints who preach once every 1,000 years, which is almost impossible in other parts of the wilderness. At this moment, there are billions of creatures on this sacred mountain, all bowing 3 times and kowtowing 9 times. On the top of the sacred mountain, there are continuous halls made of pure gold. In the hall, there are countless solemn and sacred beings standing tall. The most eye-catching are the 2 Daoist figures sitting upright in the center, supported by the lotus platform. One person has a golden face, holding the 7 treasures and wonderful tree. The other person has a sorrowful expression, with a golden lotus surging out of their mouth, and endless divine light blooming, striking at the sky. And all of this came to a sudden halt when the painting was unfolded. At this moment, the 2 saints of Jian and Zhuanti were staring at the Hongmeng Divine List with fiery eyes. This gold list is really extraordinary. Just these 4 words written on it actually contain the true understanding of the Great Way. The quasi-Taoist spoke up and exclaimed in amazement. You should know that at this time, the Zhuanti Taoist has already made great contributions and achieved the throne. But looking at this Hongmeng Divine List, Zhuanti Daoran was shocked to find that he had gained some understanding. And the nearby guide Taoist was also shocked by this Hongmeng Divine List. Can we go further above the sage? The guide murmured. But upon hearing this, Zhuanti quickly made a gesture of silence. Upon receiving the introduction, I instantly understood and stopped speaking. Then, the 2 of them turned their gaze to the Hongmeng Divine List, but their eyes were both hot. Long ago, the West was sunk in great wars, and endless years have not recovered. Today, its luck is still poor. Therefore, although both of them have become saints, there are not many precious treasures around them. But now, this Hongmeng Divine List is obviously a rare treasure. It is definitely not just an acquired masterpiece, but at least a spiritual treasure of innate level. Even, it may be an innate treasure. This list is related to me in the West. He opened his mouth and his eyes turned red. Zhuanti was deeply convinced and nodded repeatedly. The 2 saints of the West have already set their sights on the Hongmeng Divine List. However, in the midst of chaos, there are not just 2 saints who are paying attention to the Hongmeng God List. At this time, in the 8 scenic spots palace of Dalatian, chaotic airflow drifted through it, with 3 Taoist priests converging inside. At first glance, these 3 Taoist figures were 1 elderly, 1 middle-aged, and 1 young. Looking back, I noticed a change in the relationship between the 3. The old man has become a young man, the middle-aged man has become an old man, and the young man has become a middle-aged man again. The 3 of them are not one, but each has 3 sides, and these 3 are called Sanqing. They are all 3 of the same origin, and they are all members of the Hongjun family. After becoming a saint, he also occasionally sits and talks. But at this moment, the sudden appearance of the Hongmeng Divine List has put an end to the discussion among the 3, deeply shocked. Big brother, what is this Hongmeng Divine List? I can't even deduce half a point. Yuanshi Tianzun spoke with great confusion. After becoming a saint, it was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Surprisingly, even with the cultivation of a sage, one cannot deduce the origin of this Hongmeng Divine List. However, the leader sitting at the top shook his head slowly. I can't deduce either. So let's try the three of our senior brothers working together. The leader of the Tongtian sect spoke up. He just tried and couldn't deduce either. When Taishang and Yuan Shi heard this, they both nodded. The three of them were all very curious. What exactly is the origin of this Hongmeng Golden List? So, the three Qins immediately used their respective magical powers and worked together to deduce. At that time, Pangu fell from the sky and transformed into the three pure ones. Now that the three pure ones have all proven themselves to be saints, working together, we do not believe that there are still things that cannot be deduced in this vast wilderness. However, this result was not as expected by Sanqing. To the extreme of deduction, it is still the misty golden light that transforms into a golden sword, cutting off all paths. Joint deduction is still ineffective. This made Sanqing frown uncontrollably. At this moment, the Supreme Emperor's face changed. Damn it. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. The flood and wilderness explode, it's hard to be a sage. You are listening at novelful.audio. Chapter 2. The flood and wilderness explode, it's hard to be a sage. Kneeling for flowers to reward evaluation, but at the crack in the sky, Nyuwa's face was solemn. As the sky repair was about to be completed, I saw the void burst open, and in the wildly surging vast laws of reason, something pushed away the boiling and boundless chaos, falling towards this direction of heaven and earth. The Hongmeng Divine List descended out of thin air. Moreover, it happened to lie on the edge of the cracks in the vast sky, making it impossible for her to do anything again. Although the cracks in the sky have been filled by the Hongmeng Divine List, they can no longer be seen. But Nyuwa understood that mending the sky was not completed. The merit feedback on her is the best proof. At this moment, the merit of mending the heavens had already gathered for the most part, bestowed upon her, causing her whole body to emit a brilliant divine light, casting shadows on all directions, shocking all living beings. However, Nyuwa was able to perceive it clearly. There is still a small portion of her achievements that are ethereal and elusive, wandering and not truly belonging to her. Only by completely repairing the cracks in the sky can we regain all our merits. Just now, Nyuwa had already deduced using the sage's method, but she was unable to trace the clues behind this Hongmeng Divine List. This made Nyuwa's heart freeze, afraid to take it lightly. This is the first time since becoming a saint. However, Nyuwa did not have any fear either. After all, it's just a spiritual treasure. And she, Nyuwa, is a saint in the wilderness, almost the pinnacle of existence in the wilderness. But then, Nyuwa's mind changed. This kind of spiritual treasure that she couldn't even deduce, its grade is definitely not low. I can't say it well, it could be an innate treasure. Thinking of this, Nyuwa couldn't help but be moved. I came to mend the sky myself, but this Hongmeng Divine List suddenly appeared at the crack in the sky. Is it not the will of heaven and earth? So this time, conquering the Hongmeng Divine List and filling the cracks in the sky is like killing two birds with one stone. Thinking of this, Nyuwa used her magic power, and Jia Baiyu used her hand to activate the law, reaching out to explore. She wants to conquer this Hongmeng Divine List. However, in the next moment, it was a sudden change. At the moment when Nyuwa's fingers touched the Hongmeng Divine List. Suddenly, a severe stabbing pain spread from her fingertips and instantly spread to Nyuwa's heart. Just like in the void, suddenly there is a roar of the great road, the intersection of wisdom, as if all wisdom is raging in this moment. At the next moment, a resounding sound echoed through the entire vast expanse of time and space, and the boundless chaos and divine thunder surged and surged, condensing boundless power and condemning sin towards this place. The immeasurable condensed and ultimate power of the heavenly splendor pierced her fingertips in an instant. Nuwa suddenly shuddered, the piercing pain almost made her cry out in pain. However, the punishment of this divine thunder is far from over. A wave of pressure spread from the void, as if the great road between heaven and earth had condensed. All immeasurable, tangible, and intangible things came surging forward, condensed into an endless and boundless force, instantly transforming into an supreme divine sword, cutting straight at Nuwa. This divine sword tears open the boundless void, illuminating the entire vast world and even the eternal time and space with light and shadow. Brush. This Dao divine knife is invisible and formless. With one slash, chaos and time and space shatter with a loud bang, but it makes Nuwa's face change greatly. Although this knife did not actually strike her, it shook her previous merit of making people from clay, and in an instant, it was cut off almost half of her. This. Nuwa was suddenly shocked. She was supposed to become a saint with the merit of creating people, but at this moment, half of this merit was cut off. If it weren't for the added merit of mending the heavens, I'm afraid the throne wouldn't be stable now. However, what frightened Nuwa even more was that the supreme divine sword transformed by this avenue had not been eliminated. On the contrary, it is constantly reconsolidating in the void, and it is about to strike again. Senior brothers, please help me quickly. Nuwa saw this and quickly called for help. She also knows that the current situation is no longer something she can handle on her own. At the same time, Nuwa couldn't help but complain in her heart. Who could have imagined that just touching the Hongmeng Divine List would push her to this point? Fortunately, there are other saints in this wilderness. Under the call of Nuwa for help, 5 colorful streams of light lit up from the vast wilderness, opening up the void and universe, and rushing towards this crack in the sky. The 2 saints of the west, Jian and Zhuanti, have already coveted the Hongmeng Divine List and are currently devising plans. Upon hearing Nuwa's cry for help, Ersheng rushed over straightforwardly. But Sanqing is faster, coming together before the 2 western sages. Previously, in the 8 Scenes Palace, when the 3 Qin dynasty collaborated to deduce, the Supreme Court noticed a hint. This Hongmeng Divine List has infinite power. If you approach it without preparation, even the sage will suffer. At that time, the 3 of them tightened a string in their hearts. And now when I heard Nuwa calling for help, I rushed over and crossed the boundless wilderness, even arriving 1 step ahead of the 2 western saints. At this moment, amidst the chaos, all 6 saints are gathered here. Seeing the 5 saints arrive, Nuwa felt a little relieved in her heart. But she dare not be careless at all. The supreme Dao divine sword has gathered and formed, with a vast and powerful force surging and surging. A trace of aura and residual power emanates, tearing apart the surrounding void. This kind of power is probably about to be chopped down. Senior brother, stop me and fight against this great Dao divine blade. Conquer the Hongmeng Divine List. Nuwa spoke in unison. And the 5 saints also nodded. Okay. These 6 saints all originate from the Xianmen of Hongjun. Although the cultivation methods of the Great Dao are different from each other, they have commonalities. Under the joint efforts of the 6 saints, their power far surpasses that of the unknown before. At this moment, the 6 saints looked at each other and used their magic together. Suddenly, an immensely majestic pressure permeated from this high sky, stirring and roaring together, overwhelming everything, sweeping across the wasteland with a loud roar, causing the hearts of all living beings in the wasteland to tremble and bow down in worship. Amidst the turmoil of heaven and earth, the 6 saints have not retained any trace. An infinitely huge Tai Chi diagram rose around the body of the Supreme Master Laozi, and as the diagram slowly rotated, even the Supreme Divine Sword remained stagnant. A banner full of chaos, containing endless power, slowly emerged as all things began, shattered, and opened up 3 supreme paths, swaying at an indescribable speed. Boom! The sky and earth are boiling, and under the sway of a flag, it seems as if it is about to create a new world. A 3-foot-long tree, resembling a small tree, with a unique treasure that blends colors, appears, making it the 7 treasure seconds tree of the Xingdi sage. The 7 treasures tree, which claims to brush everything, gently falls, displaying terrifying Taoist power. Buzzing amidst the trembling of the 4 poles of the void, 4 towering sword lights rose up, carrying an endless sense of extinction. These 4 swords have different colors, some are as red as blood, some are pure as the emperor, and under the intersection of the 4 colors, the Taoist scriptures on the sword body are particularly terrifying. Kill, sink, kill, die. The 4 swords shook the heavens and earth, emitting a terrifying sword intent that destroyed everything. At the same time, there is also a red embroidered ball and a blue treasure flag. The power of the sage himself, combined with the precious treasure in his hands, only leaks a fraction, forming a terrifying threat. Under this pressure, all living beings must bow down. And many great powers in the wilderness, feeling this pressure, were all shocked. How could the 6 saints have teamed up for the Hongmeng God List? For a moment, many great powers in the wilderness were filled with fear. Just like the demon master Qin Feng. He had already seen the extraordinary nature of the Hongmeng Divine List and was fanatical in his heart, trying to seize it. But unexpectedly, all 6 saints have taken action at this moment. This shook the demon master Qin Feng's heart. What is the origin of this Hongmeng Divine List? It is so precious. Not just the demon master Qin Feng. Many of the great powers of the quasi-holy peak are also deeply awe-inspiring. Zenyuanzi, Donghuang Tai, Mingyi Laozu, and others were silently releasing their divine thoughts and observing the movements above the sky that day. They are all beings of the quasi-holy peak, and in this vast wilderness, they truly deserve to be a hegemon. Previously, they all had the intention of seeking this Hongmeng Divine List. But now, seeing the 6 saints taking action together, they were shocked and could only suppress their thoughts and silently examine. However, after watching for a moment, all the superpowers were stunned. On that high sky, the 6 saints teamed up to use their magic to fight against the supreme sword. However, all of them were cut with that knife, causing their clothes to swell and their blood to churn. Even the vast and boundless cultivation within their bodies was shaken, with faint signs of being cut off. Then, the supreme divine sword condensed once again, and like lightning, another beam of sword light fell with a loud bang. Under the light of this knife, all 6 saints snorted and their bodies turned red, as if they were injured. This startled the many powers that were peeking in. The flashing sword light in this Hongmeng Divine List is even unbeatable to the 6 saints joining forces. What kind of divine power is this? It's too terrifying, isn't it? At this moment, the chaos shook, and all the great powers were shocked and boiling. However, after 3 cuts, the light of the knife began to crumble and disappeared on its own. Then, a grand and majestic voice sounded, rolling like thunder, containing the power of the Great Way. The Hongmeng Divine List can be viewed from afar and cannot be defiled. Nuwa coveted the Hongmeng Divine List and remembered her first offense. She lightly chopped 3 swords and imposed a slight punishment. If there is a recurrence, severe punishment will be imposed 100 times. The thunderous sound of this avenue is grand and magnificent, covering the 6 harmonies and echoing from all directions. Upon hearing the thunderous sound on this avenue, Honghuang Dang was stunned. Do you call this the light/3 sabers? Slaying the 6 saints together, is this a light 3 strike? Many great powers cannot help but be intimidated and inexplicable, and their hearts tremble fiercely. However, in the next moment, the Hongmeng Divine List was filled with rebirth and changes. When this incident occurred, the entire wilderness exploded. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Belongs to the list. Coming soon. You are listening at Novel FUL. Audio. Chapter 3 belongs to the list. Coming soon. Kneeling for flowers to reward evaluation at this moment. On the sky and earth penetrating Hongmeng God List, lines of handwriting are slowly emerging. Suddenly, many great powers were taken aback and quickly checked. However, at this glance, they were all full of ups and downs in their hearts, unable to control their emotions. It's really not that they lack moral integrity. The information that appears on the Hongmeng God List is really amazing. The black and mysterious handwriting on this Hongmeng Divine List stands out. The Great Way is 50, and the heavens are 4 or 9, but escape one of them. Now, this retreating one feels that heaven and earth will collapse and be destroyed, turning back on its own. In the cracks of the sky, form this Hongmeng Golden List to make up for the great road of heaven and earth now, the return of the escape, the completion of the great road between heaven and earth at this moment, the wilderness begins to be fulfilled on the western edge of the wasteland. There is a Taoist temple called Wuzhuang Temple. There is a middle-aged Taoist wearing a black and white Taoist robe, a towering crown on his head, and holding a brush. The Taoist has a jade-like face and a fairy-like demeanor. Beside him were 2 Taoist children. No wonder, the existence of the 6 great sages who emerged together is helpless, and there is only the Tao. Zhen Yuanzi took a deep breath, as if to suppress the palpitations in his heart. This kind of scene is really shocking. Even the existence of this giant who has lived for thousands of years and seen everything in the world is still shocked. It seems that the world is going to be in chaos again. After a long time, Zhen Yuanzi murmured with an inexplicable expression. Weiwei Honghuang, with 2 Kunlun mountains. One is the East Kunlun Mountains, which is the heavenly sovereign Daoist temple of the Saint Yuan Shi. One is the West Kunlun Mountains, which is the head of the female immortals in various celestial realms and the dojo of the Queen Mother of the West. Above the West Kunlun Mountains, buildings and palaces stand tall, not as majestic as the heavenly court, but exuding a peaceful atmosphere everywhere. It seems that these buildings blend perfectly with the entire world. Full of a dusty smell. Looking around, a beautiful female fairy from West Kunlun is swallowing spiritual energy on the misty West Kunlun, practicing her supernatural powers or playing the piano to discuss the Tao. Jinmu, have you cleared the level? A beautiful woman, like an orchid, bowed towards a central area of many buildings. This woman has a charming smile, her voice is as beautiful as a lark, and the smile between her eyebrows and eyes is extremely charming. This woman is the best among the female immortals of the Western Kunlun Mountains, the 9 heavens Xuannu. How can one still stay in such a big commotion? A cold and extremely cold fairy spoke faintly, her appearance unparalleled, indescribable. Is that the list of gods true? The 9 heavens Xuannu hesitated for a moment before slowly speaking up. What do you think? Jinmu did not directly answer, but instead asked a rhetorical question. Tell many female immortals that they are not allowed to go down the mountain within 1 yuan hui. Jinmu did not continue the topic with Jiutian Xuannu, but instead changed the conversation and took a step forward. The world is changing, and even noble women like her, the first fairy, have to move around to deal with many possible situations. At the same time, there were movements everywhere in the flood and famine. This news is really shocking. Not to mention the many great powers in the wilderness. Even the 6 saints were inexplicably shocked one by one. No wonder. Even with the 6 of us working together, we were defeated by the power of this divine sword. So it turned out to be the one who escaped. In this way, I am not unjustly injured by the Great Dao divine blade. Zhundi murmured and spoke, as if lost in thought. Senior brothers, I apologize for this fact today. I will definitely repay you one by one once my junior sister makes some adjustments. Nyuwa spoke apologetically. She recognized the meaning of the precise words. Although I know my temper for speeding up, I'm just trying to get a discount, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm really injured. However, today's incident was indeed caused by her, and Nyua didn't want to turn her back directly, so she had to make a promise. Compared to the information written on this Hongmeng Divine List, this sage's promise is nothing at all. Complete the great road between heaven and earth. The flood and famine begin to come to a complete end at this moment. This news is too shocking, even these saints were momentarily shocked. What does it mean to complete the Tiandi Avenue? The 6 saints fell silent, each with their own thoughts in their hearts. In the past, this evaded one represented a glimmer of fate, a glimmer of chance. So now, what kind of chain reaction will the return of the escape and the completion of the 50th Avenue bring? Will all destiny be predetermined from now on? All the saints are feeling anxious and a little nervous. At this moment, even they dare not assert whether this incident will affect the saints. However, in addition to their 6 saints, there is also a towering presence that is even more tense. This person's cultivation is still above the 6 saints, and he is the master of the 6. In the deepest part of the Chaos Sea, a towering and ancient Taoist palace stands tall among them. The 2 characters, Purple Sky, are written on it. This palace is dark and bright, with endless shadows in the void. It seems like there are endless changes in time and space, changes in dimensions, and alternations. In the palace, the ancestors of Hongjun Road lie high for 9 days. At this moment, Hongjun Daozu repeatedly pondered over the handwriting on the Hongmeng Divine List, frowning. Will this affect our plan? Hongjun Pan pointed out that he wanted to deduce. But under deduction, he gained nothing. This made Hongjun feel a bit uneasy. Since ancient times, after slaying Luo Gui and becoming a saint, Daozu Hongjun has always been known as the first person in this world. On the path of cultivation, everyone is following the footsteps of Hongjun Daozu. Now, Hongjun is even more eager to take the 100-foot pole to the next level and transform himself into the heavenly way. However, at this moment, the Great Witch Gong angrily collided with Mount Zhou, causing a hole in the sky to collapse. And this hole, however, attracted the evading one to come back and fill it voluntarily. Can Hongjun still transform the path of heaven and earth, as he completes the path of heaven and earth after retreating? Hongjun Daozu pondered silently. However, at this moment, new handwriting appeared on the list of Hongmeng gods. Hongjun Daozu was startled and quickly checked. At the same time, in the midst of the chaos, many powerful gazes also turned to the Hongmeng Divine List together. At this moment, this Hongmeng God List is the center of attention among the masses in the midst of the chaos. I saw it on the list of Hongmeng gods. Another line of handwriting becomes visible. Starting from today, various ranking lists will be automatically generated, with a vast number of columns, ranking categories. Merit ranking, heaven, earth, and man ranking, treasure ranking, immortal talent ranking, goddess ranking. The following is a series of rankings with a large number of columns, which are gradually being listed. See the ranking list listed on this Hongmeng God List. Many great powers in the wilderness are crazy. Originally named Hongmeng Divine List, that's why. To rank all creatures and treasures in the wilderness. These great talents have lived for countless years, and the significance of this list can be seen at a glance. Even if there's nothing else, just listing the rankings is enough to shake the chaos. With this ranking, many little known secrets will be exposed. Except for some extremely obvious rankings. For example, on the merit list, 9 out of the top 10 are undoubtedly the saints of Nyua. But the information provided by the rankings below the top is also crucial enough. I'm afraid every list released will cause a huge uproar in the midst of chaos. Demon Master Qin Feng peered into this list, his heart burning with fire, his eyes turning red. He also once listened to Hongjun preaching at the Zixiao Palace and sat on a futuan, having the opportunity to become a saint. However, this opportunity to become a saint was taken away by someone. Later, Qin Feng scraped 3 feet of land in the wilderness, trying to find the holy Hongmeng purple qi, but couldn't find it anywhere. This has made Qin Feng always harbor resentment. He has been cultivating himself to the heavens and earth, achieving the pinnacle of quasi-sainthood for countless thousands of years. However, he was snatched by the guide Zhuanti and missed the chance to become a saint. At present, this Hongmeng ranking is indeed a divine opportunity. Demon Master Qin Feng thought to himself, a fierce light suddenly appeared in his eyes. If we can find someone on the list who adds merit and find a way to plunder it, perhaps we can follow the path of Nu's merit becoming holy. In his heart, the plan had already begun. And like the Demon Master Qin Feng, those who are tempted and want to seize this opportunity are unknown in the wilderness. Heavenly Emperor Jun, Eastern Emperor Tai, 12 ancestral witches, Earth Immortal Zhen Yunzi. Each quasi-holy peak's great ability is calculating and deducing independently. And half a day later, on the list of Hongmeng gods. The listing of the list has finally been completed. The Hongmeng Divine List paused for a moment, and then new handwriting appeared. The Hongmeng Divine List has been exhausted and the first list is about to be released, Hongmeng First Rank. Mount Rank. Mount List. Under the scrutiny of many great powers, there is a mental rotation. On the Hongmeng Divine List, the handwriting is still appearing at a constant speed. At the time of settlement on this list, participants will receive rewards, which vary depending on their ranking. Later, the ranking on the Hongmeng God List began to be announced. Publish rankings one by one, accompanied by corresponding ranking rewards. After only glancing at the reward for the last place, many great powers in the wilderness suddenly went crazy. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Mount Ranking, Amazing Rewards. You are listening at novelful.audio. Chapter 4 Mount Ranking, Amazing Rewards. Kneeling for flowers to reward evaluation on the Hongmeng Divine List. Ranking of mounts one by one, accompanied by corresponding rewards, is released in sequence. Just the reward of the last place instantly made all the eyes of the powerful turn red. Mount List, 100th place. 5-colored divine cow. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Shiva. Ranking reward. The mount receives a 1 million year Daoist crown, and the owner receives a 1 million year Daoist crown. The release of this Hongmeng Divine List is not just written on the Golden List. But there is a thunderous sound of the Great Road, accompanied by the manifestation of the characters on the list, echoing through the ages between heaven and earth. From sages to cultivators in the realm of immortals, anyone willing to explore their divine consciousness can know. Now, the 100th place on this mount ranking has been released. It's Shiva's mount, a 5-colored divine bull from the middle of the Dalai Lama. See this ranking and rewards. All the cultivators who have set foot on the path of cultivating immortals are crazy. With just one mount, there is a great Luo Xiuwei. Among Pang Dao Tong, some cultivators sighed and were greatly shocked. He has practiced for millions of years on his own, but he has not even stepped into the threshold of the Golden Immortal. And this ranking list has been released, with the lowest ranking mounts and cultivation levels reaching the middle stage of the Dalai Lama. This had a great impact on him, and his mind was somewhat unstable. Millions of years of hard work is not worth a great mount. Moreover, the difference between him and these 5-colored divine cows is even greater than the difference between clouds and mud. The other party is a powerhouse in the realm of Dalai Lama. A small mysterious immortal like him can be destroyed countless times with just a flip of his hand. This is the wilderness, where the strong come together, unfathomable. What kind of existence is that in a world of chaos and desolation? Jin Xian walked on the ground. De Luo was not as good as a dog, only Xuanqing could shake it. However, even the quasi-saint is just a stronger ant. Under the sage. They are all ants. Under the heavenly way. Sages play chess. Not only that, but there are also people who are extremely jealous of the reward for ranking 100th. The 100th place actually rewards the owner and the mount with 1 million years of Taoist practice each, adding up to 2 million years. 2 million years of cultivation. Although there is no time for cultivation, there are many great powers in the wilderness, and even in seclusion, millions of years pass by leisurely. But this is an extra 1 million years of Taoist journey out of thin air. Moreover, as the Hongmeng Divine List clearly states, it is the pinnacle of Taoism for millions of years. Any cultivator with a higher level of cultivation who has passed the death barrier for millions of years knows what it means to achieve the pinnacle of this profession. Originally, after 1 million years of seclusion, the ability to increase mana through operation was extremely limited. Later on, even though my cultivation had reached a bottleneck, I was still unwilling to leave the level and sought only the feeling of enlightenment. And this feeling is hard to find, even after millions of years of contemplation, it may not be possible to catch it. It's very likely that the feeling just started and disappeared in an instant. If you want to catch that feeling again, it will be hundreds of thousands of years. But can this climax condense millions of years of thinking into a moment? If so, then this reward is too amazing. At present, many cultivators are lost in contemplation. If it is truly possible, then this 1 million year journey of enlightenment will be no less than 5 million years of hard work. These are just the thoughts of ordinary cultivators. Their realm is not enough, far from the point where they can see the vastness, they are still struggling to cross the river. And the true superpower in the wilderness, seeing this 100th place, thinks more. Shiva's 5-colored divine ox. On the heavenly court of the demon clan, Emperor Jun murmured. For this ranking of 100th place, although somewhat unexpected, it did not come as he expected. He knew that Shiva was a quasi-saint in the West. A strong person in the quasi-holy realm, mounted in the middle of the Dalai Lama, is nothing but normal. Emperor Jun's own mount is even stronger than Dalai, so he doesn't envy Shiva. On the contrary, it was the reward displayed on the Hongmeng God List that moved him even more. The reward for the 100th place is a million-year journey. What about going further? Will it be accumulated in sequence, or will it? Unconsciously, Emperor Jun was already looking forward to this mount list. And there are many great talents with ideas similar to Emperor Jun. Some of them have stronger mounts and do not take these 5-colored divine cows seriously. And some people, on the other hand, are inferior to it, secretly having thoughts surging. We were originally searching hard, but opportunities between heaven and earth are difficult to find, and it is extremely difficult to judge the pros and cons. But this Hongmeng Divine List has exposed it clearly, saving us all the hard work. If we can win the mounts on this list and also receive Taoist rewards, wouldn't it be killing 2 birds with 1 stone? At present, someone is secretly plotting and trying to plot. In the midst of the chaos, there are various opinions, but no one questions the authority of this ranking. Just kidding, that's the one who escaped. Even the 6 saints working together cannot defeat the Dao divine sword transformed from the divine list. Who would question this level of Hongmeng God List? At this time, the handwriting on the Hongmeng God List continued to appear, and the higher rankings were revealed one by one. 99th place. Golden-eyed Camel. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Great Brahma. Ranking reward. The mount receives a 2 million year Taoist crown, while the owner receives a 2 million year Taoist crown. 98th place. Golden-eyed 5-cloud Camel. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Zizai Tianhua Sun. Ranking reward. The mount receives a 3 million year old Taoist title, while the owner receives a 3.million-year-old Taoist title. 97th place. Fire-eyed golden-eyed beast. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Fire God Jerome. Ranking reward. The mount receives a 4-million-year Taoist crown, while the owner receives a 4-million-year Taoist crown. 96th place. Unicorn Black Smoke Beast. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Styx Ancestor. Ranking reward. The mount has won the top 5 million years of Taoist cultivation, and the owner has won the top 5 million years of Taoist cultivation. Above the heavenly court, Emperor Jun nodded slowly. Sure enough, the rewards behind this, as he had previously thought, were accumulated in sequence. The 100th place rewards a 1-million-year Taoist journey, and by the 96th place, it is already a 5-million-year Taoist journey. Is it difficult or not? The reward for this first place will be 100 million years of Daoist achievement. Or would there be other rewards? If it's just a Taoist act, this reward would be too much for us. The heavenly Emperor Jun was curious and looked down. However, when he saw the reward for 95th place, his face changed drastically. This. Are you serious about this reward? As strong as the Emperor of Heaven and handsome, he couldn't control the temperament maintained by dozens of Yuan Hui, and exclaimed in surprise for a moment. P.S. In order to better read, the author has carefully revised the first few chapters. If it is convenient, please review the third chapter again. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Explosive Rewards, God's Shake. You are listening at novelful.audio. Chapter 5 Explosive Rewards, God's Shake. Kneeling for flowers to reward evaluation. The 95th place on the Hongmeng Divine List shocked Emperor Jun's heart and soul, and his emotions surged. Emperor Jun calmed down and looked back at the Hongmeng Divine List. 95th place. Mo Qilin. Realm. Middle stage of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Our Lady of the Golden Spirit. Ranking reward. Bestow below the peak of the quasi-holy peak, a chance for enlightenment. Emperor Jun is not unfamiliar with the 95th place one-person one-ride. The Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit is the direct disciple of the Holy One of the Intercepted Church. Although he is usually low-key, Emperor Jun has also heard of it. And Mo Qilin is a spiritual beast that was once subdued by the Golden Spirit Holy Mother. Legend has it that it was born to a black dragon and a divine cow, extremely fierce and powerful. These are all information that Emperor Jun had known for a long time, and it was not surprising to see them on the Hongmeng Divine List. What truly shook him was the reward given to him by the 95th place winner. Below the peak of the quasi-holy peak, a sudden enlightenment opportunity. The last 5 places on the Mount list are all reward-based Taoist achievements, from 1 million years to 5 million years. And by the 95th place, there has been a qualitative change, directly becoming an epiphany opportunity. This Hongmeng Divine List, what a big move. Even if Emperor Jun is revered as the heavenly emperor of the heavenly court, he cannot help but admire it at this moment. For idle cultivators, this reward is not much. Those cultivators at the levels of Xianxian, Jingxian, and even Tai Jingxian have weak magical power and have little understanding of the laws of heaven and earth, as well as the rules of the Tao. This level of existence, after being isolated for millions of years, will always have 1 or 2 epiphanes. But when it comes to the realm of De Luo Jin Xian, or even the quasi-holy realm, it is completely different. Originally, to break through the realm of Dalai Lama, one had to comprehend the Tao. That's why there is a saying, it's called the Dharma demonstrator. After Dalai Lama, in order to take a step forward, it is even more important to comprehend the Tao and have a deeper understanding. At this height, my understanding of the rules of Taoism has become more perfect. If you think about enlightenment again, it will be even more difficult. It is very likely that after millions of years of seclusion, it is difficult to have a single enlightenment. But on this Hongmeng Divine List, the reward of 95th place on the Mount List is actually a chance for the next enlightenment. Moreover, it is specially marked as below the peak of the quasi-holy peak. That is to say, even if he reaches the cultivation level of Emperor Jun, he can still have a sudden enlightenment. This made Emperor Jun's heart boil uncontrollably. His cultivation has reached a bottleneck and he is unable to break through for a long time. I originally wanted to seclude myself, but now the witch clan is watching closely, and he is in charge of the heavenly court, lacking in clone skills. If we can seize this opportunity of enlightenment, our seat will definitely go further and dominate for a lifetime. Emperor Jun murmured. He has a high cultivation and is blessed with the throne of the heavenly court. If we can really break through again, then we will definitely be at the forefront of the entire flood and famine. However, although he was envious, Emperor Jun was not in a hurry. His own mount is not bad, at least not weaker than this Mo Qilin. So what reward will be waiting for him? Emperor Jun's martial arts are in operation, sweeping the Lingtai clear and waiting quietly. But in my heart, I can't wait anymore. On the other side, on Jinao Island, there were disciples of the Jiejiao sect who exclaimed in surprise. The mount in 95th place is Senior Sisters Mo Qilin. The blue sky exclaimed in surprise. They, as disciples of the sages, were originally practicing hard at the Jiejiao dojo. But this Hongmeng Divine List suddenly appeared, and I couldn't help but pay attention to it. But I didn't expect to see the name of Senior Sister Jinling Holy Mother at this glance. Jinling Holy Mother is a disciple of the head of the Tongtian sect. At this moment, the Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit herself was filled with excitement and couldn't even suppress it. She was also following this Hongmeng Divine List and didn't expect to see her own name directly. Ranked 95th on the Mount List, Mo Qilin. Unexpectedly, this has brought about some opportunities. The Golden Spirit Virgin murmured to herself. Now, her cultivation is not low, but she is still on par with several of her own family members. Unexpectedly, due to the chance to tame the mount in the past, he obtained a chance and will be given an enlightenment reward. This sudden realization opportunity is too precious. At their level, an epiphany is worth millions of years of seclusion. Not to mention, it happens to be at this crucial moment. As a disciple of the sage, the Holy Mother of Jinling has a significant pattern and has always been able to see the vastness of the world. She understood in her heart that the current trend of chaos was approaching, and it was the time when the wind and clouds were surging and the conflict was most intense. Now the conflict between the demon and witch tribes has reached a white-hot state, and a decisive battle is about to begin. And the emergence of this Hongmeng Divine List. But it seems like adding oil to the fire, and then sprinkling a handful of hot fire. If there had been a slight room for maneuver, then by now, it no longer exists. The Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit couldn't help but have a myriad of thoughts in her heart. I'm afraid after this ranking is released, there will be a big earthquake in the midst of the chaos. And not just the Heavenly Emperor Jun and the Golden Spirit Holy Mother. At this moment, amidst the chaos, there are not only billions of people staring closely at the Hongmeng God List. Inside, there are Jin Xian, Tai Yi, and De Luo. However, these people can only be considered as small shrimp, small characters, and not in the mainstream. There are even great powers in the realm of quasi-saints, and even saints in the wilderness, who are paying attention. At this moment, they are all staring at the Hongmeng God List, not wanting to miss a glance. Under the gaze of many gazes, the Hongmeng Divine List was slowly released. Every line of writing floats out, causing a series of exclamations. After all, it's not just about amazing ranking rewards. Just the power and ownership of some mounts can already be called the unfathomable secret in the wilderness. While shocked, many people also gradually discovered the pattern. The mount rewards on this Hongmeng Divine List seem to undergo a qualitative change every 5. Just like the 80th ranked Jade Qilin, the ranking reward is 5 transformed golden pills. And at the 79th place, the reward of the divine beast lion dragon turned into a fragment of the origin of the Great Dao. The value of this has increased more than 100 times. This also makes many great powers in the wilderness extremely eager. Faced with this level of ranking, the worst mount strength on the list is the Deluo Jin Xian. Ordinary cultivators can only watch the excitement. I don't even have the desire to be jealous, the difference is too big. Only these great talents are truly qualified to compete and seize opportunities. As the rankings are gradually released. In the midst of the flood and famine, there is already a surging undercurrent. Someone's heart is palpitating, struggling to figure out who to turn to. More anxious forces have started secretly plotting to target a certain powerful figure on the list. At this moment, a new line of handwriting appeared on the mount list, which shocked all these quasi-holy powers. However, this time, it's not because of that ranking reward. How could that be so? See this line of handwriting. Countless great powers have changed their faces and lost their voices in shock. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Mount of Saints, 35 rows. All of them. You are listening at novelFUL.audio. Chapter 6. Mount of Saints, 35 rows. Kneeling for flower evaluation. At this time, the 50th place on the mount list was announced on the Hongmeng Divine List. 50th place. Diligent listening. Realm. Late stage of the Luo Jin Xian. Master. Earth Treasure Master. What shocked many great powers was. At the same time as the handwriting appears. Surprisingly, there was a listening phantom, accompanied by the thunderous sound of this avenue, appearing in their sea of consciousness. This. Many great powers are terrifying. Among them, there are also those who know about the Xitigarbha Venerable, as well as the existence of his mounts listening attentively. But at this moment, the illusion of listening that appears in their sea of consciousness is too clear. Every scale and every strand of fur is clear and distinct. Even through the phantom, one can faintly feel the laws mastered by this listening process. After all, although it is a mount, Di Ting is also in the later stage of the Luo Jin Xian and has a deep understanding of Taoism. At this moment, the Dao technique that Di Ting had mastered was completely imprinted by this virtual shadow, appearing in the minds of millions of living beings in the wilderness. Even more so, it became tens of thousands of times clearer, as if dissecting this truth and studying both inside and outside. Many great powers were suddenly shocked. This level of clarity may not be achievable even if they were to observe it firsthand for tens of thousands of years. But the Hongmeng Divine List showcases this mount so meticulously. What does this represent? Could it be that it is to show sentient beings the wonder of this listening, to develop a desire for plunder, and then trigger disputes? A thoughtful and capable speculator, but he is only skeptical and not at all certain. After all, the rewards bestowed by this Hongmeng Divine List are too bold to be speculated upon by a quasi-saint like him. Not just him, at this moment, many great powers in the wilderness are full of emotions. However, the Hongmeng Divine List is still being released. 49th, 48th, 47th. Every time a ranking is published, corresponding shadows will appear. It seems that listening is not extremely special. Amidst the chaos, there were many great powers, which made me feel a little at ease. However, none of them took it lightly. After all, that was the first mount to show a phantom, and perhaps it had a special significance that is unknown. In the midst of the wilderness, opportunities are hard to find, and fate is hard to calculate. Along the way of cultivating immortals and asking for help, we strive to cross the river, trying our best to do everything possible. And with the release of rankings one by one. In the wilderness, many forces were unable to restrain themselves and began to act independently. The demonic race, the witch race, and the sages have all taken action in their orthodoxy, preaching, and elucidation. Some great experts come out of the mountains to visit famous Daoist friends on the list, offer generous conditions, and want to exchange them for their mounts. And there are still some who are unwilling to invest resources, but are silently plotting to seize them before the ranking is settled. I can't blame many great powers for being moved. The ranking rewards on this Mount list are really generous. Just like the reward for the 48th place, a strand of innate energy. Using this chi to conceive and nurture spiritual treasures has a chance to allow the acquired spiritual treasures to break through their innate limitations. That is to say, it is very possible to create a new innate spiritual treasure out of thin air. In the wilderness, spiritual treasures are precious, and innate spiritual treasures are even more abundant. Its existence is a fixed number. Moreover, over billions of years, apart from being hidden in the depths of the wilderness, no one has had the opportunity to find that kind of innate spiritual treasure. Almost all other innate treasures have their own owners. Not to mention, there are also cases of supreme combat and damage to innate spiritual treasures. That is to say, the innate spiritual treasure will only decrease, not increase. But now, this innate aura provides an opportunity for Lingbao to break through the innate barrier. This has made many forces envious. That's a congenital spiritual treasure. Moreover, the rewards on the Hongmeng Divine List go far beyond these. The innate energy that can create innate spiritual treasures is just one of them. The further you go, the more amazing the reward must be. Countless great powers are constantly paying attention and silently deducing. This is only over 40, and the reward can already make some quasi-saints jealous. Going further back, it may not be impossible to impress the sage. For a while, all eyes in the world converge on this Hongmeng Divine List. 36th place. Zhuhuai. Realm. Late stage of the Luo Jin Xian. Host. Emperor Jun. Ranking reward. A strand of innate spiritual energy will definitely allow the spiritual treasure to break through the innate world. Accompanied by the announcement of the 36th place ranking. Above the heavenly court, a magnificent momentum erupted, breaking through the clouds. Ha ha ha, okay. Emperor Tianjun burst out laughing, his aura exploding uncontrollably. Ranked 36th on the Mount list, Zhuhuai is his Emperor Jun's mount. And the rewards corresponding to the ranking also satisfy Emperor Jun very much. A strand of innate spiritual energy, a higher level existence than innate energy. With this innate spiritual energy, it can ensure that the spiritual treasure can break through the innate barrier. Although it was not a reward for cultivation, Emperor Jun was even more delighted. After all, even if one's cultivation is advanced, without significant breakthroughs, they will not play a significant role in the final battle of martial arts. And now the decisive battle is imminent, the witch race is watching closely, and Emperor Jun is eager to improve his strength. This strand of innate spiritual energy is nothing but good for his Emperor Jun. If you have an extra spiritual treasure of innate grade in your hand, your strength will be more than several times stronger. Moreover, this is still the worst option. What if the ultimate acquired spiritual treasure is used to break through? Will there be a chance to obtain a top-quality innate spiritual treasure that even saints cannot ignore? You should know that even as the Heavenly Emperor, he doesn't have many top-quality innate spiritual treasures in his hands. There's no way, although the demon clan has a big family and business, they also have many subordinates. Most of the treasures have been bestowed upon. You should know that in the wilderness, beneath the sage, the spiritual treasure is the true core. If one can possess a top-notch innate spiritual treasure with a strong appearance, they can even fight against the Great Luo. At this thought, a smile appeared on the corner of Emperor Jun's mouth. I believe those experts of the Witch clan, seeing this ranking, should be almost unable to sit still. For a moment, Emperor Jun was overjoyed and his momentum exploded. However, after a moment, Emperor Jun calmed down, restrained his momentum, and calmed down his mind. He is the Heavenly Emperor of the Demon Clan Heavenly Court, not only with exceptional cultivation, but also with extraordinary character. At present, I am on the list of mounts, and this strand of innate spiritual energy is already in my bag. There is no need to be too excited. Moreover, the rankings on the Hongmeng Divine List have not been fully released yet. At present, Emperor Jun adjusted his mindset and continued to look at the ranking list. However, at this glance, Emperor Tian Jun's heart and mind were shaken, and his face changed wildly. The 35th place announced on the Hongmeng Divine List is now casting a phantom onto his sea of consciousness. Like a deer but not a deer, like a horse but not a horse, like a cow but not a cow, like a donkey but not a donkey, with a scaly head and leopard tail like a dragon, stepping on auspicious light to the 9th level. 35th place. 4 different things. Realm. The pinnacle of the Great Luo Golden Immortal. Master. Yuanshi Tianzuan. Ranking reward. 2 strands of innate spiritual energy. For a moment, the entire flood shook with a loud roar. The 35th place on this mount list is completely different. Master, Yuanshi Tianzuan. This is a saint's mount. The sage's mount, surprisingly only ranks 35th. Many forces in the wilderness exploded upon seeing this ranking. Before this, they were not without speculation. The mount of the sage may also be included in this mount list, altogether. However, originally, their estimated results were that the saint's mount occupied the top 10, or even the top 5. What they never expected was, this is only the 35th place, and a saint's mount has appeared. And at this moment, seeing this 35th place unlike. The saints finally can't sit still. P.S. The new book is not easy. I beg everyone to give me tips, flowers, reviews, and support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Beyond the Existence of Saints. Daoyi Shenjun. You are listening at novelful.audio. Chapter 7. Beyond the Existence of Saints. Daoyi. Kneeling for flower evaluations and rewards. The for nostalgia, in this seat also made the list, ranking 35th. Seeing the 4 different characters on the ranking list, Yuanshi Tianzuan was slightly taken aback. The mount list released by this Hongmeng Divine List actually includes his mount as well. In the wilderness, there are not many highly arranged saints. At least it's the mount of the sage's family. Such a casual arrangement would cause great trouble. But soon, Yuanshi Tianzuan came back to his senses. Although his own mounts were also arranged, which was a bit unexpected for him, it was all within reason. After all, this Hongmeng Divine List is a transformation that has escaped, and the Dao Divine Blade that has emerged from its transformation can cut and injure the 6 saints. Although I am a saint, I may not be able to withstand a blow from others. At first glance, it's not surprising to include your mounts in the ranking list and rank them together. As for the 35th ranking of the 4 elephants, Yuanshi Tianzun did not have many surprises. Si Xiang is the true mount of his primordial deity. But it's not his only mount, he also has the 9-dragon Agarwood chariot. So it's normal to have a relatively low ranking. Even more so, the 9-dragon Agarwood chariot is the mount he usually rides on. And these 4 incongruities cannot be considered his mount at all. He was originally planning to give these 4 things as gifts to his disciples in the future, and it wasn't that important. Therefore, For the fact that these four things are only ranked 35th, Yuanshi Tianzuan did not have much concern. At the same time, in Western religion, the two saints of Jian and Zhundi have a worried face. The black lines on his face were like a series of chasms. Your face is fine, it's hard to see the extreme. I saw the two of them looking at each other before reluctantly speaking up. Surprisingly, even the mounts of the sages have been lined up, so I'm afraid my Western poverty will be exposed. Then he let out a sigh. In ancient times, the great war between Hongjun and Luo Gui sank the West and made it barren. Until today, it has not recovered. At present, this Mount list has reached over 60 places, and there are already quite a few people on the list. In addition to the Lich and Demon clan, there are also many people from the Xianmen sect on the list. Like the two sects created by the leader of the Tongtian sect and the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord, many disciples have their mounts on the ranking list. But on this ranking list, there are only a few names on the Western religious list in total. Moreover, even if they make it to the list, they still rank very low. Even the two of them are already saints, but they don't have any impressive mounts. He only has a 12th grade lotus platform in his hand, and he doesn't know if it counts as a mount, but he probably doesn't. At present, the four elephants of Yuanshi Tianzun have already made it to the list, proving that the mount of the sage is also about to enter the list. They are both empty-handed, I'm afraid they will fall behind. Thinking of the rewards on this list, the guide couldn't help but feel envious. Noodle skin is something that the two Western sages can naturally avoid occasionally. But this reward, which is enough to make the saints tempted, has left them unable to let go for a long time. Even if you don't want your face, you can't get any rewards. How could the heart of the recipient not be depressed? However, just as he was feeling extremely frustrated in his heart. On the one hand, the quasi-Taoist smiled slightly, and his eyebrows relaxed directly. Appearing like encountering something big and good. Upon receiving the introduction, I couldn't help but feel puzzled and even wanted to teach my junior brother, who couldn't see the situation clearly. It's already this time, can you still laugh? As if sensing the anger of his senior brother, Zhuan Ti spoke calmly. Senior brother, don't sigh. I have no mount on the list in the West, which further proves that the West is indeed barren. Do you need help? Senior brother, don't forget why our Western land became barren and unbearable in the beginning. The quasi-Taoist even started dancing while speaking. As a saint, one's nature is naturally incredibly firm. At this moment, revealing such a form, unless encountering a great creation. The Taoist, who had a hint of anger on his face, heard his junior brother's words. The furrowed brow actually stretched a bit. Even, his face was like that of a quasi-Taoist, with a hint of a smile on it. In a pair of eyes that were originally slightly desolate due to disappointment, there was a flash of brilliance shining through them. Immediately after, the Taoist priest swept away the previous desolation and spoke with a somewhat excited tone. Yeah, it's because the West was affected by the Great War between Hongjun and Luo Yi that its luck was shattered. Now that the ranking of mounts has been released, it is evident that our Western world is barren. His ancestors cannot continue to refuse us, can they? For countless years, the two of them have been complaining and demanding for this shattered luck, almost throwing a tantrum. However, Daozu Hongjun also refused to compensate the two of them for a long time, believing that the West was not so poor. But now, the drop of the Hongmeng Divine List is the best proof. There are only a few people on his list from the West. Compared to other places with deep blessings, this difference is clear at a glance. This time, it's up to you, Hongjun Daozu, how bad you are. As soon as I thought about it, my heart suddenly shook, and in an instant, there was a hint of energy and vigor in my expression. Although I haven't received any rewards from the ranking list, I can still take the opportunity to demand it back from Hongjun. Just leading to speak, yet hesitating to speak. At this moment, an idea appeared in his sea of consciousness and could not be dispelled. He felt that the reward given by the Hongmeng Divine List was even better than what the Taoist Hongjun could give. But Zhundi seemed to see what Jian was thinking and smiled as he spoke. "Senior brother, we didn't make it on the list, but who said we can't plot rewards on this list?" Upon hearing this, I immediately understood. "Oh. Do you mean that after this reward is distributed, we will quietly take action again?" Zhundi nodded with a smile on his face. "Rania. As long as you make a move after the ranking is settled and not entered into the Hongmeng Divine List, I believe not many people will notice. When the time comes, let's take a share here and then go to Hongjun Daozu to demand another share. Isn't it beautiful?" The two exchanged a glance and laughed heartily. They have been extremely proficient in this style of behavior since ancient times. Even when it comes to these less glamorous activities, as saints, the two of them didn't feel any inappropriate at all. It's as if all of this is just a matter of course. After making up their minds, the two quickly conspired to discuss who to seek their reward for. This ranking list, although it is a prominent place. But this line is good, but it covers all kinds of information comprehensively. It's clear at a glance whose mount ranks first. Even Zhundi Jian and the other two feel that this ranking is intentionally for their convenience. Isn't it easy for them to pick out a few soft persimmons to pinch from this ranking list? On the other side, in the Bio Palace, the leader of the Tongtian sect has returned. At this moment, he sat upright on the cattail, looking at the Hongmeng Divine List with his mind. Senior brother, ranked 35th on the list of foreknows, actually rewarded a strand of innate spiritual energy. The leader of the Tongtian sect looked at the reward and was somewhat moved. This innate spiritual energy is a rare good thing, even for saints, it has a certain attraction. Although in the beginning, Daozu Hongjun gave him the most spiritual treasures, and he can be said to have the strongest family background among the three cleans. Even if we look at the entire wilderness, there are few beings with a deeper family background than the leader of the Tongtian sect. However, even so, there are times when the leader of the Tongtian sect is struggling. Leaving aside the fact that most of them are acquired spiritual treasures. The key is, he has so many disciples who can conquer the heavens. Many spiritual treasures have already been distributed, and there are still many disciples who have not been distributed. Even if we take out those acquired spiritual treasures, they are far from enough. The Supreme Master is not just talking casually. And this strand of innate spiritual energy can transform the acquired spiritual treasure and enter the innate world. Such a good thing, even the heavenly sect leader is tempted. However, the leader of the Tongtian sect was not in a hurry, let alone asking for help from the Yuanshi heavenly sovereign. After all, both of them are Sanqing, and the other party's family background is still clear to the leader of the Tongtian sect. The main mount of Yuanshi Tianzuan is the 9-dragon Agarwu chariot, not these four different. Probably because of this, it only ranks 35th. Master Tongtian secretly said. I don't know how many Kuei-Nyo in this seat will rank. I guess it's not in the top 3, it's also in the top 5. Between words, the leader of the Tongtian sect is extremely confident in his mount. His Kuei ox is at least of the same level as the 9-dragon Agarwu chariot of the primordial heavenly emperor. Or rather, the leader of the Tongtian sect believes that his mount is even better than that of the Yuanshi heavenly sovereign. And in this wilderness, how many people's mounts can compare to saints? The leader of the Tongtian sect made a slight estimate and immediately came to a conclusion. In this vast wilderness, there are a total of 6 saints, Sanqing, the 2 western saints, and Nyuhua. If we include Hongjun Daozu, then there are only 7. He knows the family background of Jian and Zhundi. These two are usually skilled riders, so he probably doesn't have any impressive mounts. That is to say, the truly competitive ones are the 5 of them. In this case, the first 5 are basically firmly established, and there is no need to wait until the dust settles. The difference lies only in which of the 5 saints is higher or lower, that's all. Meanwhile, the leader of the Tongtian sect is also looking forward to it. The reward for the 35th place is already a strand of innate spiritual energy. What will be rewarded for the top 5? The Heavenly Master's divine sense is revealed and he looks from afar. However, at this glance, the leader of the Tongtian sect is somewhat puzzled. As the rankings are gradually released, many powerful mounts in the wilderness have already made it onto the list. Names like Zenyuanzi, Dijuan, Donghuang Tai, and Fushi, all of which are well known in the sky, have already appeared on the list. There are even some people here who were originally listening to the teachings at the Zixiao Palace, all of whom are powerful figures in the wilderness. At present, these great talents have already been on the list, but they have only reached the 10th place. Who will be in front of me? Even the leader of the Tongtian sect cannot help but wonder at this moment. At this point, the mount list on the Hongmeng Divine List has been announced as the 16th place. The 16th mount is a 9-headed lion, belonging to Tai Yi Jukushan Zun. Not to mention Tai Yi saving the suffering Heavenly Lord, just these 9 lions are extremely extraordinary. His cultivation is extremely high, and he has already achieved the rank of saint with the 9 spirits Yuan Xing title. That's it, I only ranked 16th and received a reward of innate purple energy. The announcement of the 16th place has been completed, and new handwriting appears on the Hongmeng God List, but it is not the ranking. The top 15 mount rankings will be announced soon. The top 15 ranking rewards will not be released publicly for now, and will be distributed together with the settlement of the mount ranking. Not publicly released yet. Looking at the handwriting on the Hongmeng Divine List, the leader of Tongtian sect thought for a moment. Is it not related to heavenly secrets? The sky is unpredictable, so naturally not all living beings can see it. And, think about the rewards for those rankings earlier. The top 15 involve heavenly secrets, it's really possible. After all, the one ranked 16th has gained a ray of rosy purple energy. This idea surged, and Lord Tongtian couldn't help but feel even more hopeful in his heart. Master Tongtian still has a lot of information about himself. After all, I feel like I am firmly in the top 5, and the rewards on the leaderboard are naturally the richer the better. Next second, the 15th candidate will be announced. The head of the Tongtian sect's divine sense looked, but his face changed greatly. I saw a name prominently appearing on the list of Hongmeng gods. 15th place. Kuei Nyo. Realm. Early stage of quasi-saint. Master. Master of the Tongtian sect. His name, the leader of the Tongtian sect, is prominently written in the 15th place. Not to mention the top 5 guessed earlier, I didn't even make it into the top 10. Boom. Suddenly, the sage's majesty erupted, sweeping across the entire UU sky in an instant. Even the entire wasteland trembled slightly due to the sudden burst of energy from the Heavenly Master. Countless creatures from the wilderness have all surrendered and prostrated themselves beneath the throne. As a saint, it's embarrassing to only rank 15th. Even though Master Tongtian has a calm mind, he almost couldn't control it for a moment. The leader of the Tongtian sect and the guide of the 2 saints are different. Those 2 people don't want to be shameless, he still wants it from the heavenly sect leader. Now that the list of mounts has been released, in the eyes of the leader of the Tongtian sect, he is ashamed to have been thrown home. After all, he is considered to be at the bottom of the saints. You should know that apart from the unusual 4 elephants that Yuanshi Tianzun rode, the first one to come out was him. I want to see what extraordinary things the person in front of me has. The leader of the Tongtian sect brushes his sleeves in anger and glares at the Hongmeng Divine List. Slightly, even rushing up directly to make people rearrange this ranking list. If the leader of the Tongtian sect sees an unheard of cat and dog in front of him, with his violent temper, he will probably draw his sword on the spot. At the same time, the 14th candidate was also announced. 14th place. Candle Dragon. Realm. Mid-stage of quasi-saint. Master. Dao Yi. Seeing this ranking, Master Tong Tian was stunned. Under the initial anger, a slightly ugly expression softened a bit. Candle Dragon. The next moment, Master Tongtian's face was filled with disbelief. For a moment, the leader of the Tong Tian sect felt like he had a mental problem and misread the words on the ranking list. What does Candle Dragon exist? During the reign of Long Han Liangjia, it was second only to the ancestors of the three tribes, sitting in the second position of the Dragon tribe. At that time, the strength was already at the peak of the quasi-saint. It can be said that when facing the Candle Dragon, my original self was also a younger brother. I thought this Candle Dragon had fallen in Liangjia, but now it appears as a mount. Such an existence naturally makes one's nature extremely proud. How could one easily succumb? Even if it's a way to die, I'm afraid I don't want to bow down to others. Even if one surrenders to others, the strength of the Candle Dragon should not be limited to the mid-stage of the quasi-holy period. But soon, it was good to think that he could survive from the calamity, and it was understandable that his cultivation had regressed a bit. But none of this is the point. The key is: who the hell is it? Surprisingly becoming the owner of the Candle Dragon. Dao Yi Shenjun. Master Tong Tian searched rapidly in the sea of knowledge. However, no information related to this name was found. He is certain that as time goes by, he has never heard of this name in the wilderness. However, this person was able to make the Candle Dragon his mount, and after the Long Han Liang robbery, the heavenly Dao punished him and suppressed the Dragon clan, while also being able to horizontally suppress the head of the Tong Tian sect, ranking 14th. Dao Yi. Who is it? P.S. 7th update. People don't speak too harshly. Since everyone has received their reward, the author's first day at 10 is even more explosive. Seeing that there are still 2 more rewards, the author will reward 5 more on top of 10 more. That means it will explode even more on the 15th of the first day. Finally, let me ask for a reward and a comment. If there are any, add 5 more on top of 15. That is to say, on the first day at 20 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. The flood and wilderness water is too deep. Once again, Saint. You are listening at novelFUL.audio. Chapter 8. The flood and wilderness water is too deep. Once again, the holy beast Xuanwu. 8th change, not only the heavenly master is shocked. At this moment it is as if an underground volcano is erupting in the depths of 1,000 zhang cold pool, causing a huge uproar throughout the entire flood plain. With the announcement of the 14th place ranking, a Candle Dragon phantom appears, and the sound of thunder on the avenue appears in the sea of consciousness of many living beings. This is that Candle Dragon. Pang Daotong saw the phantom of the Candle Dragon and exclaimed in shock, with a hint of fear in his voice. Nowadays, Honghuang is in the period of the Lich Demon Cataclysm, and endless years have passed since the previous cataclysm. Many younger generations do not recognize this Candle Dragon. However, in the early calamity of the Dragon Han dynasty billions of years ago, this Candle Dragon was notorious. At that time, heaven and earth had just opened up, and there were no saints in the vast expanse. Standing at the top of the entire expanse were the 3 tribes of dragons, phoenixes, and Qilin. And this Candle Dragon was the second most powerful figure under the ancestral dragon of the Dragon clan at that time, standing in awe of the wilderness and dominating the world. Some great beings have a long lifespan and have lived through that era. Even if it is a great power in this world, in that terrifying era, without achieving cultivation, one can only tremble under the pressure of the 3 tribes. For this Candle Dragon, it's even more embarrassing to talk about it. And now, although billions of years have passed, when the name of Candle Dragon reappears in the wilderness, these great powers still cannot help but tremble in their hearts. This is not yet the most frightening. The most terrifying thing is that this candle dragon was tamed and used as a mount. What kind of divinity is this one God Lord? There are many great talents who are afraid and unbearable, and they communicate with each other to inquire. However, after some exchange of ideas, these great powers looked at each other in confusion. They are powerful and knowledgeable, but none of them have ever heard of the name of this Dao Yi Shenjun. This makes these big shots feel intimidated. They are all at least in the quasi-holy realm, having practiced for millions of years. I thought I could already touch the truth beneath the surface of this vast wilderness. But suddenly a Daoyi god appeared, subduing the candle dragon and overwhelming the leader of the Tongtian sect on the Mount List. This person, they have never heard of it. Can the water in the wilderness be so deep that the 6 saints of the wilderness they know are only the tip of the iceberg? At this moment, many great powers suddenly change color and feel anxious in their hearts. This impact is too great, almost damaging their moral integrity. Some cultivators with slightly lower mentality may experience a slight drop in their cultivation level due to their unstable Dao mentality. This is for many great powers. They went through the terrifying era of the Dragon Han Rebellion and knew the power of the Candle Dragon. The cultivators who have not practiced for so long do not know the fame and prestige of this Candle Dragon, but they are also extremely shocked. Just that faint shadow is enough to make their hearts cold. Moreover, the existence of this deity named Dao Yi Shenjun has surpassed a saint on this Mount List. In the midst of the vast and boundless wilderness, with endless years, only these few saints have emerged in total. All below the sage are ants, and even at the peak of the quasi-sage, the difference between them and the sage is 10,000 times greater than the difference between heaven and earth. What is the origin of this Dao Yi Shenjun? His mount surprisingly ranks even higher than the Kuei bull of the heavenly sage. For a moment, there were various discussions in the world. And the Hongmeng God List is still being released. 13th place. Qingyuan. Realm. Mid-stage of quasi-saint. Master. Nuwa. 12th place. Zhulong Qinshan Chariot. Realm. Mid-stage of quasi-saint. Master. Yuanshi Tianzuan. 11th place. Banjiao Green Bull. Realm. Mid-stage of quasi-saint. Master. Supreme. 10th place. Colorful Auspicious Clouds. Master. Daozu Hongjun. The announcement of these 4 rankings is shocking. These 4 are not as well known as Daoishan. Looking at the entire wilderness, no cultivator who has set foot on the path of cultivating immortals and has some knowledge has never heard of the illustrious reputation of these 4. The Nuwa who made people by kneading soil. The Supreme Emperor, who belongs to the 3 Pure Ones, is the heavenly sovereign of the Yuan dynasty. And the last one, who once preached in the Zixiao Palace and surpassed all the saints, is Daozu Hongjun. And this further shocked all the creatures in the wilderness, feeling unbelievable. Including the previous leader of the Tongtian sect, there are already 5 saints on the list in the current chaos, including Daozu Hongjun. However, even the colorful auspicious clouds of Daozu can only rank 10th. Who should the top 9 belong to? What kind of existence would it be? Is there really someone in this vast wilderness who can surpass the sages? At this moment, all living beings who are paying attention to the Hongmeng Divine List feel anxious. I thought that the Taoist ancestor and his 6 saints were the absolute supreme beings in the vast wilderness. However, on this list of Hongmeng gods, the highest ranking is only 10th. At present, among the 6 saints, only the guide and quasi-guide are left on the list. Can these 2 people surpass Daozu Hongjun in the top 10? The cultivators in the flood and wilderness just had this idea in their hearts, and the next moment they were all in a bad mood. If that's the case, then their years of understanding of the wilderness will be completely overturned. Can Judy Jane crush Zhu Hongjuan's head? Looking at this list, many quasi-saints in the wilderness felt a deep sense of powerlessness, and they felt that they couldn't understand it anymore. How many hidden secrets are there in this vast world? Judging from the current situation, even Daozu Hongjun cannot reach the top of the list, only ranking 10th. That is to say, there are at least 9 mysterious beings that can rival the Daoist ancestors. Even to say, it can steadily suppress the head of Daozu. As quasi-saints, they are completely unaware of this. Actually, it's not just them. Even the sage is at a loss at this moment. In Western religion, the 2 saints of Jain and Zhuanti looked at the Mount List, stunned and speechless. Why can Daozu's Shenjun be considered a mount, but not my 12th grade golden lotus? Guide the person to speak. However, his tone was very indifferent, clearly not focused on this. In this vast wilderness, there is still an existence that we do not know of, beyond the existence of our ancestors, the Zhuanti Taoist also murmured, with a dazed expression, no longer satisfied with the previous plan. By this time, the list of mounts has been released and is nearing its final climax. The many great powers known to the 2 of them in the wilderness, including the quasi-saints and all the saints, have already been listed. But it only filled the positions from 100th to 10th on the mount chart. What will be the top 9 on the mount list? At this point, what they are concerned about is not the ranking rewards given by this Hongmeng Divine List. The key is that the great power they knew in the wilderness has been exhausted, and no one can surpass Hongjun Daozu. And this means that the top 9 on the mount list, just like the Dao Yi Shenjun just now, are completely outside their knowledge range. This made both saints somewhat frightened. This explosive news has caused many forces in the flood and famine to shake and panic, searching for a glimpse of the tip of the iceberg beneath the deep waters of the flood and famine. However, the Hongmeng Divine ranking has never stopped, still maintaining a constant speed, constantly presenting handwriting in writing rankings. 9th place. Xuanwu. Realm. Late stage of quasi-saint. Master. Dao Yi. The 9th place on this mount list was just announced. The entire wilderness exploded in an instant. Even outside the chaotic sky, one can hear countless neat sounds of gasping for breath. The entire flood and famine shook when the 9th place on the ranking list was revealed. Even saints like Master Tong Tian instinctively held their breath at this moment. Xuanwu. Is it Xuanwu, one of the 4 sacred beasts? Legend has it that there are 4 sacred beasts in the wilderness. Qinglong, Baihu, Zhuke, and Xuanwu. Throughout history, it has guarded the 4 extremes of the wilderness. However, at this moment, a mount named Xuanwu appeared in the 9th place on the Hongmeng Divine List. How could such an existence even become a powerful mount? Many great powers have been churning with hard work, and their cultivation has been shaken. In the next moment, a towering phantom, accompanied by the thunderous sound of the road, appeared in their minds. That is a giant turtle-like creature, too huge. It only has 4 legs and is tens of thousands of zhang long, and most of its body has sunk into the clouds. This is the holy beast Xuanwu. There is a great power that cries out in shock and fears in the heart. Who would have thought that Xuanwu, one of the 4 sacred beasts, was taken as a mount and made famous on the Hongmeng Divine List? Moreover, the name of the Xuanwu master has left many great powers in awe and wanting to tremble. Dao Yi Shenjun, you are Dao Yi Shenjun again. P.S. 8th update. People don't speak too harshly. Since everyone has received their reward, the author's first day at 10 is even more explosive. Seeing that there are still 2 more rewards, the author will reward 5 more on top of 10 more. That means it will explode even more on the 15th of the first day. Finally, let me ask for a reward and a comment. If there are any, add 5 more on top of 15. That is to say, on the first day at 20 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Dao Yi dominates the list. Saints' Hair and Bones. You are listening at Novel FUL. Audio. Chapter 9. Dao Yi dominates the list. The saint's hair stands on end. Ninth change, Xuanwu, one of the four sacred beasts, was actually taken as a mount. And its owner's name is called Dao Yi Shenjun. At this moment, looking at the vast wilderness, all the cultivators who are paying attention to the Hongmeng God List have an incredible expression. Whether it's a quasi-saint or an ancestor of a certain faction. It's really hard to accept that everyone is shocked. The announcement of the 9th place has brought a huge amount of information. On the Mount list, the 14th and 9th belong to the same person. It's all this mysterious and unpredictable Dao Yi Shenjun. And in his mount. Not only are there the notorious candle dragons from the ancient times, but also from the Han dynasty. Now, there is also the legendary sacred beast Xuanwu, who guards the four poles of the wilderness. Despite being shocked by many great powers, I also understand in my heart. The fact is already here, clearly written on the Hongmeng Divine List. They don't want to accept it and have no choice. Moreover, as one of the four sacred beasts, Xuanwu is well deserved for its ability to overpower the mounts of saints. Thinking of this, these great talents feel that it's not that difficult to accept anymore. Just like Shen Yuanzi in Wuzhuang Temple. He is the ancestor of earthly immortals, with a cultivation level that can reach the peak of quasi-sainthood. When Hongjun preached at the Zixiao Palace, he was also qualified to listen, and it can even be said that he was of the same generation as Sanqing. At this moment, Zhen Yuanzi is using his magic to suppress his emotions and flip. This boundless wilderness is truly a hidden dragon and a hidden tiger. I don't know when I will have the opportunity to visit this one God Lord. He is also gradually adjusting and calming down. As Zhen Yuanzi's magical power flowed, his mood gradually calmed down. However, at the next moment, an idea suddenly surged unconsciously in Zhen Yuanzi's sea of consciousness. Wait! Zhen Yuanzi exclaimed in surprise, his eyes instantly widened. The 9th place is the holy beast Xuanwu, so shouldn't it? Zhen Yuanzi murmured, the next sentence choked up in his throat and didn't come out. If it really goes as he thinks, it would be amazing, it will cause many changes. I'm afraid that countless floods and famines will face a major earthquake as a result. Using his magical power to calm his mind, Zhen Yuanzi once again explored his divine sense and checked the Hongmeng Divine List. Surprisingly, it's true. At this glance, his face turned pale and he shook his body, almost collapsing on the ground. 8th place. Vermilion Bird. Realm. Late stage of quasi-saint. Master. Daoist. 7th place. White Tiger. Realm. Late stage of quasi-saint. Master. Daoist. 6th place. Qin Long. Realm. Late stage of quasi-saint. Master. Daoist. At this moment, the words slowly appeared on the Hongmeng Divine List. The 6th to 8th places are undoubtedly Qin Long, Baihu, and Zhu Ke. In addition, Xuanwu, who only ranked 9th above, surprisingly, all four holy beasts made it to the list together. Moreover, the owners who belong are actually this Dao Yi Shenjun. This. All the forces and great powers in the wilderness are now shocked and horrified. They wanted to speak, but found themselves at a loss for words. Since the appearance of this Hongmeng God List, they have been shocked too much. However, the previous shocks combined cannot compare to this moment. The four sacred beasts guarding the four extremes of the wilderness are all on the list, all of which have been taken as mounts by this one God Lord. For a moment, a sense of unreality surged in the hearts of many great powers in the wilderness. Did there actually exist such a towering figure in this vast wilderness? If it weren't for the collapse of Mount Zhou today, the the collapse of the sky, and the return of those who fled to repair the heavenly palace, they would probably have been difficult to see for billions of years. In the Bo Palace, the leader of the Tongtian sect sat on a cushion, but his expression was somewhat dejected. Previously, he was ranked 15th and he was still not convinced in his heart. But now, seeing the mount of this one God Lord has caused a huge sense of defeat for the leader of the Tongtian sect. Originally, as a saint, he was already the pinnacle of existence. But now, this one God Lord has emerged from afar, without showing any signs of mountains or water, directly occupying 5 seats on the Mount ranking list. Each one ranks higher than his Tongtian sect leader. Moreover, even if all 4 sacred beasts emerge together, they only rank 6th to 9th. Still in the top 5, I don't know what mysterious existence there is. This has stirred up the emotions of the leader of the Tongtian sect, making it difficult to calm down. Is it true that as a saint, what one sees is only a small part of this vast wilderness? How could there be such a supreme existence, living in the midst of the wilderness, yet unable to perceive it? At this moment, the leader of the Tongtian sect suddenly saw a strand of magical power carrying the message flying towards him. Second brother, third brother, come to my 8 views palace quickly. There's something important to discuss. Upon hearing this message, the leader of the Tongtian sect felt a little relieved. The person who transmits the message is their eldest brother, the supreme leader. Suddenly, his mood did recover a bit. Although they are both saints, as the leader of the 3 cleanses, the cultivation level of the supreme preceptor is 1 point higher than that of him and the primordial heavenly sovereign. Before the appearance of the Hongmeng Divine List, they were discussing Taoism in the 8 scenic spots palace. After hearing Nuwa call for help and rushing to provide support, they left separately. But now, the supreme preceptor has transmitted a message and summoned again, probably for the purpose of this Hongmeng Divine List. This hit the nail on the head of the Tongtian sect. At this moment, he began to use his magic and stepped out step by step. In a moment, the leader of the Tongtian sect has crossed a distance of billions of miles and arrived at the great Luo heaven of the Supreme Court. And the primordial heavenly sovereign also arrived almost simultaneously. Big brother, but for the Hongmeng God List. Yuanshi Tianzun urgently asked a question, even more urgent than the leader of Tongtian sect. Exactly, 2 wise brothers, please sit down. The supreme leader responded, requesting the second sage to take his seat. The 3 of them sat down separately, but their faces were all stern. 2 wise brothers, do you have any insights into the ranking of the Hongmeng God List? Upon hearing the supreme preceptor's question, the heavenly sovereign of Yuanshi immediately answered. This Hongmeng Divine List is really amazing, it can exhaust all the mounts in the wilderness. But the Dao Yi Shenjun on this list is too unpredictable and suspicious. And the leader of the Tongtian sect also nodded. Even before the Mount list was released, the 6 saints had already teamed up to experience the power of the Hongmeng Divine List. Therefore, this Hongmeng Divine List is also highly valued. For the content at the top of the Mount list, Master Tongtian has no doubt, but this final content is too shocking. All of them, the sage of the wilderness, can only rank 10th at most. And among the top 15, surprisingly, some unnamed ones are occupied by this one God Lord. At this moment, Tai Shang also nodded slightly. I also doubt this matter, but I dare not make a final decision. Just now, I pointed and deduced, but didn't come to a result. Although it was only a slight difference, it was impossible to reach. Therefore, we invited the 2 wise brothers to come over. Tai Shang spoke slowly, with a solemn tone. Big brother means, we need to gather the power of our 3 cleanliness to deduce the authenticity of this ranking together at this moment. Master Tongtian said. He has already recognized the meaning in the Tai Shang dialect. And this happened to be as he wished. But the emperor spoke again and again. I just calculated it. If we really want to push the performance results, we still need to wait until all the mount charts are out. Otherwise, if we extrapolate recklessly, we may actually face backlash, which is even more serious than Nu's attempt. Upon hearing what the Supreme Emperor said, Yuanshi and Tong Tian were also awe-inspiring. The time when Nu was rescued by all the saints, she was almost cut by the Dao divine knife, and her lesson was not so profound. And the deduction technique of the Supreme Court can overcome the chaos, and what he said about backlash is likely to exist in reality. At present, even though the two saints were extremely eager, they could only restrain themselves and then turn their gaze to the Hongmeng Divine List. And on that list of Hongmeng gods, new rankings have emerged. 5th place. Shilin. Realm. Quasi-Holy Peak. Master. Daoist. 4th place. Yuanfeng. Realm. Quasi-Holy Peak. Master. Daoist. 3rd place. Zulong. Realm. Quasi-Holy Peak. Master. Daoist. Shu. See these three names and their subsequent affiliations. Sanqing glanced at each other and took a deep breath. P.S. 9th update. People don't speak too harshly. Since everyone has received their reward, the author's first day at 10 is even more explosive. Seeing that there are still 2 more rewards, the author will reward 5 more on top of 10 more. That means it will explode even more on the 15th of the first day. Finally, let me ask for a reward and a comment. If there are any, add 5 more on top of 15. That is to say, on the first day at 20 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Ancient 3 clan chiefs willing to be mounted. All. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Ancient 3 tribes. All 3 tribes willing to be mounts. Everyone was stunned. 10th change, Zulong, Yuanfeng, Shilin. These 3 names appeared on the Hongmeng Divine List, making the 3 saints in the 8 Scenes Palace take a deep breath. This. The leader of the Tongtian sect remained silent and was greatly impacted. Previously, his Kuei bull ranked 15th on the Mount list. The 14th Candle Dragon, also known as the second character in the ancient Dragon clan, made a name for himself in the early days of the Dragon Han dynasty. That era is too far away from today. At that time, no one became holy in the wilderness. Even though Sanqing was transformed by Pangyi Yuanshan, in that era, he was just a contender on the path of cultivating immortality. At that time, the flood and famine were completely controlled by the innate 3 tribes of dragons, phoenixes, and Qilin, and no one could compete with them for glory. Just the second character of the dragon clan, Zhu Long. It is enough to leave a deep impression on the now sanctified leader of the Tongtian sect, which has not been erased for eternity. And now, the 3rd ranked ancestral dragon on this Mount list is the ancestor of the dragon tribe at that time, far surpassing the Candle Dragon. And Yuanfeng and Shilin are also like this. They are the ancestors of the Feng and Qilin tribes, and in that era, they could cover up the sky with one hand. And the ancestors of these 3 ancient tribes. Surprisingly, all of them are listed on this Mount list and belong to Daoist. Even though Sanqing is all saints, seeing this ranking, one cannot help but feel a chill surge from bottom to top. Not just the 3 of them. At this moment, in the midst of the wilderness, everyone is shivering with fear. Is this one God Lord already the strongest in that era? In Western religion, the Taoist whispers the way. This is unbelievable. You should know that the era of the dragon, phoenix, and Qilin clans dates back more than billions of years. Only after these 3 clans have gone into seclusion can there be a struggle between Dao and Mo. Then, it was the founder of Taoism, Hongjun, who became a saint and preached in the Zixiao Palace. Going forward, it was only then that Nuwa, Sanqing, and the two of them gradually became saints. At the time when the three tribes were retreating, even their master Hongjun Daozu had not yet become a saint. And this one God Lord, yet you can take the ancestral dragon, Yuan Feng, and Shi Qilin as mounts. Is it possible that in that distant era, he was already a great power? But the quasi-Taoist shook his head slowly. Not necessarily. It is also possible that after that era, this Dao Yi Shenjun calculated the locations of the three tribes and went to subdue them one by one. Just finish speaking. Jie nodded, but still had lingering palpitations. The possibility of the situation mentioned by Zhuan is indeed quite high. After all, at that time, Zulong, Yuan Feng, and Shikelin were already the supreme powers of the quasi-holy peak realm. And at that time, there were no saints in the wilderness. What means did this Dao Yi Shenjun use to subdue the ancestors of these three tribes? In contrast, the possibility of coming from behind to catch up is actually higher. After all, after the retirement of the three tribes, without the blessing of their qi, they will actually be weaker by 1 point. However, even so, it is enough to shock the world and shock all living beings in the world. At this moment, the entire wilderness has already boiled and exploded. Everyone is trembling for the top 5 rankings on this leaderboard. At this moment, all forces, all traditions, are in awe. Even though I have not been exposed to the ancient history of the past, and do not know that there were once 3 ethnic groups, I am still deeply shocked. Just the cultivation at the peak of quasi-holy cultivation is enough to make people's hearts and souls cold. This is the pinnacle of quasi-sainthood. The sage does not emerge in the wilderness, that is the supreme existence. Many ancestors of great powers, that is, this realm. And these 3 quasi-holy peak mounts are all under the command of Dao Yi Shenjun. Plus the candle dragon in front, as well as the 4 sacred beasts, just the mount of this one God Lord alone, the number of quasi-saints has actually reached 8. 8 quasi-saints are enough to form a powerful force that can be revered in the wilderness. You should know that looking at the entire wilderness, having the power of 8 quasi-saints will not exceed 10 fingers. But surprisingly, the 8 quasi-saints under the command of the one God Lord were all used as mounts. This is too scary. And those great powers with a long lifespan are even more terrifying. They survived the initial calamity of the Dragon Han dynasty and now occupy a prominent position in the wilderness, calling themselves ancestors. But seeing these 3 names emerge, I couldn't help but tremble slightly. What kind of existence is it that can subdue the ancestors of these 3 tribes? Above the heavenly court, the handsome face of the heavenly emperor was solemn. Just now he checked the ranking list, his mind was in turmoil, and his magical power leaked out, melting his heavenly emperor throne a bit. I don't know if there is a chance to bring in my demon race with such existence. If it's really possible, both this imperial throne and Taiyi's throne can be granted to him. Before Emperor Jun's thoughts, he was actually thinking of wooing this Dao Yi Shenjun. However, this is also reasonable. After all, the final battle between the 2 Lich clans is imminent now, and he is facing too much pressure. At this time, among the witches, Emperor Jiang looked at the ranking list, but a cold sweat flowed down his face. He is one of the ancestral witches, and his abilities can consistently rank among the top 12 ancestral witches. But at this moment, looking at this ranking list, Emperor Jiang needs to use his magic to control his body and not tremble. He has a long lifespan and once lived through the Long Han era. Although now revered as the ancestor of the Wu tribe, seeing the names of these 3 ancestors still makes one feel uneasy. I haven't experienced the terrifying era of Long Han, so it's difficult to experience the feelings at that time. In the wilderness, all the tribes are ants, and between heaven and earth, only the 3 tribes of dragons, phoenixes, and Qilin remain. In the chaos of that time, even if all other ethnic groups united, they could not resist any of them. The reason for this lies in the 3 most powerful figures, Ancestral Dragon, Yuan Feng, and Shi Qilin. In the era without saints, the peak of quasi-saints is the strongest among all living beings. The immense fear brought about by this absolute power suppression, even to this day, some great minds cannot stop their palpitations. However, at this moment, the ancestors of these three tribes have reappeared and have already been listed on the Mount List, becoming the mounts of that Dao Yi Shenjun. This shock is indescribable. At present, all living beings in the wilderness have the same idea in their hearts. All of them are extremely eager to know, what kind of divine is this Dao Yi Shenjun? At this time, the handwriting on the Hongmeng Divine List is still writing at a uniform speed. The people who were paying attention to the Hongmeng Divine List suddenly had a flash in their hearts. By now, only the top 2 on the Mount List have not been announced. Now, it's finally about to be revealed. But at the same time, many great powers, ancestors, and even saints are also puzzled. At this moment, in this vast wilderness, all the extraordinary creatures they know have already appeared. The 3 ancestors of the 3 tribes and the 4 sacred beasts are all extraordinary beings standing at the top of the vast wilderness. What kind of 2 beings are they, and should they be ranked before them? Is it, in the midst of the wilderness, a secret recipe that one does not know? All saints have extreme expectations in their hearts. And on the Hongmeng Divine List, the handwriting is still writing stroke by stroke. Once the top 2 are announced, we can proceed with the deduction. In the 8 Scenes Palace, the Supreme Preceptor spoke softly. Yuanche Tianzuan and Tongtian's sect leader are also closely monitoring this Hongmeng Divine List, almost eager. They want to see if the ranking of this Hongmeng God List is true or false. Once the list of mounts is announced, we can proceed with the deduction. However, the next moment, just as the second name slowly appeared on the leaderboard. But it's a sudden mutation. Boom! The vast and majestic magic surged out of the 8 Scenes Palace, sweeping the entire great Luo heaven and even sweeping billions of miles around. At this moment, Sanqing in the 8 Scenes Palace looked horrified. There's no other reason. The second name on the Mount List has had a huge impact on them. Under this impact, even the 3 saints, who had maintained countless elemental guilds, were mentally unstable and their magical power was turbulent. Hiss. How could it be? Surprisingly, it's him. P.S. The 10th update. People don't speak too harshly. Since everyone has received their reward, the author's first day at 10 is even more explosive. Seeing that there are still 2 more rewards, the author will reward 5 more on top of 10 more. That means it will explode even more on the 15th of the first day. Finally, let me ask for a reward and a comment. If there are any, add 5 more on top of 15. That is to say, on the first day at 20 o'clock. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.